Hi there, everyone. This is Darkside2K7, aka Sonic Sky Season. Oh my god, DC, what DC? Oh my fucking god. DC doesn't know what to do with their fucking properties. They manage instead of them actually writing fun and unique, great stories for all people to enjoy. They decided to write stories that had to be full of propaganda and bullshit. I mean, the worst is getting Superman, man. I mean, first we got a gay Superman, then we got a black Superman, and now we got Superman. Oh god, this is bad. I just heard about this and I was like, why would you do this to the Man of Steel? Why? Oh, I forgot. Activists Marvel hired these activist writers and comic book makers because to these idiots, they don't care about writing stories. All they care about is pussy their propaganda bullshit. Anywho, when I heard about what happened to Soups, I was like, no. On so many levels, no. Let me read this to you. I'm reading this from Bounding into Comics. You might be prepared. There's gonna be some things you ain't gonna like to hear about what they did to Superman. DC Comics implies Superman was sexually tortured. See described as commentary on how in America, when bad things happen to people who are traditionally moralized, there's this feeling of let's just move on. Oh my fucking god. This is so fucking sick on so many levels. Let me read this. According to 12 Years a Slave, screenplay writer turned comic book author John Ridley, his decision to pen a story for DC Comics in which Superman is implied to have been sexually tortured during one of his previous Silver Age adventures was made in order to provide commentary on his personal perception that the prevailing culture in this country is when bad things happen to people who are traditionally marginalized. There is this feeling of, okay, we get it, and it was wrong, let's move on. Ugh. See, this is this is why it's so fucking stupid. It's like woke idiots and woke activists cannot let go of the past, man. And anything that was made that happened in the past, or anything that was made in the past, it has to these woke idiots, it's considered problematic. Fuck you. I mean, ugh. Recently making the rounds on social media, Ridley's Untitled Tale features in the first issue of the recent Superman Red and Blue anthology series. It serves as a continuation to the two-part story originally published in 1970's World Finance Volume 1, issue number 192 to issue number 193, where the Man of Steel and the Dark Knight were held prisoner in a death camp run by the state's Soviet dictator, Colonel Kozlov. Written by Bob Haley and illustrated by Ross Erdon and Mike Esposito. Sorry if I pronounced those names wrong. You know, the original story, you see Colonel Kozlov captures Superman by first staging a false flag train derailment to lure him into the country, and then when the man is still distracted, depower him with a targeted bombardment of synthetic kryptonite radio waves. That's actually pretty smart if you think about it. What? What? You gotta give the villains credit. After attempting to sneak his way out of Kozlov's clutches, running into a number of liberated soldiers dressed like the Dark Knight as part of a psyop along the way, Superman stumbled upon Batman, who revealed that he came to the Soviet country in order to investigate his friend's disappearance. Unfortunately, the two of them caught by Kozlov himself, who froze the Tortuga hero's finest into one of Liberated infamous death camps. Oh yeah, and as if, oh yeah, and if, oh yeah, there's also, I'll leave a link in this comment, but there's also related that the DC comic that DC is possibly going to try to repeat the death of Superman to make Jonathan Kent the permanent replacement for Clark Kent, because why the fuck not, right? But there, Superman and Batman are seen being subjected to the various cruelties of the Soviet Union's prison system in an attempt to break their spirit, including hard labor, starvation, and humiliation for nothing more than the guard's enjoyment. These conditions are shown to be particularly mentally taxing on Superman, who is observed by Batman was not as prepared as I am for this kind of treatment. Eventually, the heroes devise a plan to switch costumes, thus misleading Karzar's kryptonite rays into to be directed as Batman and allowing Superman to slowly regain his powers. Soon after, Superman returns to full state. The pair escape and return to Washington, leaving the disgraced Karzar to fall victim to the very death camp he once oversaw. Returning to Libertarian as Clark under the exposure of interviewing Karzar for the Daily Planet, Superman, seeking to conduct his own personal form of therapy, asked his taxi driver to make a stop at his former prison on his way to the one-sided reunion. Slowly making his way through the now-defunct facility, Superman then begins to reminisce on his time in Karzar Canyon. Get ready, this one's going to be brutal. I was held for 8 months, he recalls. 8 months of starvation, indoctrination, and forced labor. 8 months of being used as a propaganda tool to prove the weakness of the West. But I'm Superman, right? Superman's invulnerable. Superman can survive anything. That was the lie I told myself every night. It was there that Riley appeared to put a darker, more violent spin on Superman's time in captivity. One neither seen nor hinted at the original story, but rather only assumed as a possibility due to the real-world implications of its setting, as Clark turns to confront his own applied sexual torture at the hands of Karzar's men. His memories show him restrained in a bent-over position and screaming out of pain from what the dialogue suggests to be some combination of both outright rape and penetration with foreign objects. Clark continues, but every day they would drag me into the interview room. Every day they would restrain me in a way that left me exposed and vulnerable. And every day for 8 months, they did things to me. They did things to me while I was forced to look at him. Nikolai Kosov, the commander of the Surveillance, the devil libertarian, he added. It wasn't just the torture. Kosov showed me what it's like to be truly without power. Helpless in a way Luthor or Brainiac never made me feel. Humiliated. Shamed. Just, oh my fucking god. Walking back to the cab, Clark makes his way to his interview, meeting Kosov at the restaurant for lunch. Faking interest through a conversation of the former dictator's current business empire, Clark eventually gets to his only real point of interest. Did he have any remorse for all the thousands who died in the camp? Did he care? In the end, Kosov was neither reformed or remorseless. Clark ultimately reveals. He dismissed my question, saying that many people had made mistakes during the Cold War years. The West had won, and all any of us could do now was move on. However, Clark is left unsatisfied with this response, concluding himself, it's easy to move on when you're the victimizer, not the victim. Shortly after its publication, Riley opened up about his choice to explore this dark period in Superman's history during an interview with CBR contributor D.R. Brickman. When asked by Brickman if there was a particular reason he chose to focus on a moment in his life when he was the most vulnerable, Riley replied, what makes heroes more interesting to me is when you can see their vulnerabilities and their humanity. To me, just as a writer, one of these things that's really challenging, whether it's film or TV or graphic novel, is the sense of false jeopardy. When you just know nothing's going to happen to this hero. So you go through the entire story and end up essentially where you began, he explained. You know Bruce is not going away, Clark is not going away, Diana's not going away, Oliver's not going away. They just can't, you know? People love them. They sell comic books. They sell t-shirts. They sell mugs. He continued, so you get it. You know you have to write these stories that are exciting, but they have to remain. But for me as a writer, irrespective of whatever it's comic books or TVs or movies, it dissipates some of the storytelling when you have the false jeopardy. You get that cliffhanger at the end of the books, and you know everything's going to turn out all right. So for me, anytime when you see heroes as people where there's pain, where there's loss, where there's things they can't control, where they made where they made to feel human, where they doubt themselves. There's an element of real life in there, the writer added. Now I understand there's so much of comic books about wish fulfillment, and I don't want to take any of that away. But part of wish fulfillment to me is not about being so super that you're impervious, but being so human being that part of being extraordinary is just getting past some of your own fears and anxiety. Riley then drew equations between his depiction of Clark's vulnerability to the conditions experienced by healthcare workers and the delivery drivers during the COVID-19 pandemic. I knew that shit was coming. Telling Brickman, I think that's just it. I think that just as a person in the real world, we've gone through a year of fear and anxiety. But as we came out of it, we see that the people who are really extraordinary are the doctors, nurses, the delivery people who brought us food. Before we dismiss them as nobodies, we need to realize that they are heroes. So for me, that's part of the storytelling, the author said. And that was a big reason why I think that story, even when I was a kid, was compelling to me because it was different than a typical Superman story. The stories that are interesting to me are the stories where you get to see why these characters are human. You can see their humanity. To me, that is interesting, and that is the challenge he's doing. It's not a challenge when Superman can do anything, but it becomes a challenge when he can't do anything, but still chooses to do the right thing. In conclusion of the interview, Bregman drew Riley's attention to the above quote, "It's easy to move on when you're the victimizer, not the victim," and asked the author, what was the inspiration behind that quote? That is my perspective about the prevailing culture in this country, Riley really responded. When bad things happen to people who are traditionally marginalized, there's this feeling of, okay, we get it. It was wrong. Let's just move on. He further opted, you can see that just over the last year or even in this year with the things that happened in January 6th, there are a lot of people who are likely, okay, yeah, we get it. It was bad. Move on. But it's like, no, you can't just move on. There are things that need to be worked through and things that need to be acknowledged and dealt with. It was very important for me to represent that for Superman. Even though we see him as Superman, he needs a moment where he can't just move on from it. With trauma, sometimes we have to look at it, and that's okay. Remarkable written. Whether it's societary trauma, whether it's personal trauma, I think sometimes in life we feel like we have to be happy today. It's great if you can be happy. I wish happiness on everyone every day, but sometimes we have to slow down and go, okay, today's not a good day, and this is why. Let me deal with that, and let me work my way through it. It's okay to hurt. You know that that's a no, that's a natural human thing. Drawing his thoughts to a close, Riley declared to Brickman, hurt and trauma and regular and normal emotions. These need to be acknowledged, he stated. We need to understand that it's never good when people are hurt. But it's okay to hurt people because that's an acknowledgement that there is something going on that people need to deal with, and we need to help people deal with that hurt, trauma, and whatever it's going through. What do you think of Riley's twist on Superman's time in Lupin? Uh, besides its bullshit, and I mean, to me, and honestly, it's so fucking stupid in my honest opinion. And to me, I think modern writers, man, they fetishize loss, pain, despair, weakness, fear, and anger so much that the journey doesn't know how to write about things like, strength, faith, hope, love, truth, justice, and the American way. I mean, they're just pretty much broken people who want to push their eternal misery onto others because they can't stand to see anyone enjoy it. And honestly, this is the most dumbest thing imaginable, and DC should be fucking ashamed of themselves. I mean, even I'm reading in the comments of this article. Doctor Evil said it best. No, John Ridley from DC Comics. It's more like when people who are rich and privileged make up fantasies about things that never happened in the past, so they can grab more money and more power. Now, that's what it's like. I mean, this is so fucking bad. James Tony said it best. I'm not surprised at all. Of all the heroes who the SJWs hate is Superman. The non-selfish character who gives up everything to protect everyone, so they got to tear him down to make themselves feel better. It is not how the creator of Superman wrote his character. Take this non-canon garbage and trash it. You can write off anything in the past few years that's non-canon. I mean, John Kerr said it best. Look how they treat your heroes, and look how they raise up villains in their place. Buckster. What a surprise! A black writer destroying the legacy of a white character. Bet he won't do the same with Black Panther. Exactly. This shit right here, this, like I said, DC should be fucking ashamed of themselves, but I know DC idiots won't. DC don't give a fuck about this. All they care about is fucking money. That's all they ever fucking give a fuck about. Same with Marvel. They don't give a fuck about hiring these activists who do nothing but destroy iconic characters that people fell in love with, and then try to change them just so it could be something that they fucking like. I mean, hell, in the new Harley Quinn issue, in the new Harley Quinn comic books, they managed to turn Vixen into a fucking lesbian for whatever fucking reason. See, I'm just laughing. I'm really laughing on the inside right now because it's like, it's shit like this. It's fucking shit like this is the main reason why manga and anime is dominating in fucking sales. And Marvel and like I said, Marvel and DC are gonna keep on pulling this bullshit until they close the doors. Cause it's like, it's really stupid. DC and Marvel is saying no to money by pushing this bullshit that normal people like myself don't fucking want. Oh, and speaking of DC, now there's a hashtag on Twitter saying boycott Warner Brothers because DC is decided to make a Flash movie that's going to erase the Snyderverse. Because why the fuck not, right? Apparently, for whatever dumbass reason, DC is trying to create the DC universe, just like how Marvel is doing with the MC universe. See what I did there? Well, Marvel and DC, I just got one thing to say to both you sons of bitches. I'm not buying your shits anymore. I'm not buying your fucking comic books anymore. Fuck each and every last one of you for trying to push this woke bullshit. I want to read stories about superheroes being awesome, kicking ass, taking nays, add some funny quips, always willing to save the day, fun, exciting adventures, and all that. I don't want to read comic books that have to deal with real world bullshit or propaganda bullshit. I don't want to read anything about raising the black fist. I don't want to read anything about LGBT pride or anything. Oh god. Oh God, I know I'm gonna catch some heat on that one, but you know what I mean. I just want to. I don't want to read anything that focuses on climate change, SJWs, Black Lives Matter, Stop Raising Hate, whatever in comic books. I just want to read a good comic book with good fucking heroes, with good fucking storytelling. And also, stop trying to break down or get rid of already established characters just so you can have your own fucking, just so you can act like, oh, how progressive it is. Fuck this shit. And also, fuck you, DC, for destroying the Man of Steel. I mean, heck, I may be a Batman fan, and I always got my gripes with Superman, but what you did to him? You also be a fucking ashamed of yourselves. Oh wait, I forgot. You ain't gonna be ashamed of yourself because you don't care about nothing but fucking money. You heartless sons of bitches.